A very good evening. Thank you for joining us on UCTV. This is the weekend edition. My name is Nora Osende. We get to discuss some of the issues that are making headlines in our country. And talking about headlines, we have one entity that has been in the limelight, and that's none other than the Uganda Bureau of Statistics that has been under public scrutiny. Well, first came the preliminary results, then came the actual results, the report that was signed by the Prime Minister, Honorable Nabanja, and then there came a lot of scrutiny. Now, this scrutiny was due to discrepancies, really, especially when it comes to the tribal populations and the religious populations. Now, in studio today, I am very interested to hear what UBOS has to say, and I have the Senior Public Relations Officer with me here, Didacus Okoth. You're very much welcome. Thank you for making time.
Thank you, Nora.
Yes.
Thank you, viewers.
It has been quite a week, hasn't it?
It has been a good week. For us at the Bureau, we have enjoyed it.
Yes.
Yes, because we realized that Ugandans actually love statistics. They have made it a very interesting topic throughout the weeks, ever since we launched it on Thursday. Yeah. And of course, we want to thank the general public for making it a case to discuss it at that level. I am sure now the whole country knows the census results because of the kind of interactions that we have interfaced with on the main media platforms, on social media platforms. And that, of course, makes the statistics a relevant product in this country.
Yes,
which is very good.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And just kind of take us through, explain the processes through which UBOS follows to ensure accuracy of census data before it's published.
Before census results is published, for example, a national population and housing census is not a small exercise.
Right.
It is a big exercise in the sense that, first of all, it is household based, that you have to go to each and every household and find out the kind of information as kind of the answers that are outlined in the what we call the household questionnaire. Now, even to achieve that, it is critical that you identify the households. So as the Bureau, we use what we call the census mapping and household listing, whereby you identify all the households in the country, you establish all the institutions in the country, you also find out the infrastructure development in the country, the administrative centers or units established in the country as of the time you're going to conduct census. So that by the time you start the enumeration, you already have your target. For example, you can say we have established 8 million households. If you look at this current census, we established, let me just confirm the figure here. We established that Uganda has a total number of households which totals to 10,698,913. These are the total number of households that we established in the census 2024. And therefore, our target was to ensure that we cover all these households, in addition to the institutions, in addition to administrative units, and also it was within our means to know the infrastructure development in terms of roads, those that are tarmac, those that are maram, and so on and so forth. So, as the Bureau, we had a target of how many households we cover, and we achieved it. That's why we were able to tell the country that our coverage in terms of enumeration was at 99%. But we also realized that there was 1% that we did not cover. This 1% fell under households, mainly households that were located within Greater Kampala, that most of them were gated, or they had gates, and therefore it made it a bit difficult for our enumerators to access.
Yes.
So and any other part of the public that was not covered. So that forms the 1%. But as far as coverage is concerned, we achieved that at 99%.
It seems like the enumeration process went well.
Yes.
And everything, the filing of the report went well, until the detail of the tribal population that were declining, that's the Bagisu and the Bacholi, and then the religious populations. What exactly, specifically went wrong with this report, and how did you both discover this error? It seems like it's an error that was kind of blown out.
Well, this exercise was done professionally. In fact, there was a lot of consultation, there was a lot of detailed analysis, there was a lot of technological approach to ensure that we actually give out what is authentic information of high quality, timely, accurate, in nature. The issue of the 4 tribes, that the Bagisu, the Bachiga, Acholi, and the Langis, it was just a mismatch or interchange of data, which was done for 2014 actually. It was the 2014 data that was not well transcribed in the main report for 2024. And this was because we wanted to make a comparison. So as we were trying to create that comparative table, that what was the population of the Bagisu in 2014, what is their population now in 2024. That's where the mismatch came from. But, the public saw it and said, we have reduced the population of the Bagisu. It was a simple logic that, yes, the interchange in the figures for the 4 tribes for 2014, definitely someone would easily say this population was reduced. But of course, nothing has changed since then. The figures are still the same. The report stands, but the indicators in there for 2014 is valid, is of high quality, and can actually be used. For record purposes, the population of the Bagisu in 2014 was 1,647,328. When you look at 2024, their population had actually increased to 2,096,146. When you look at the Bachiga population in 2014, they were 2,390,975. 2024, their population rose to 2,947,837. The Acholis, 1,470,884,000. That was as of 2014. When you look at their population in 2024, they stood at 1,941,913. Belani, 2,131,443 in 2014. They increased by actually over 6,000, which is now standing at 2,703,277. When you look at the percentage change, you realize that actually the Acholis, their growth was at a high rate of 3.2%, which was a very big increase, of course. So, what we want to tell the public is that there is no tribe that their population reduced. Or, in fact, all the tribes, especially the big tribes, the one we call the big tribes. We have the big tribes. When you look at the big tribes, I can just show you. We have the big tribes, or the main tribes. We have Baganda, Banyankole, Basoga, Iteso, Bachiga, Langi, Bagisu, Acholi, Lugbawa, Banyoro, Aluri, Bakonzo, Watoro, Bafumbira, and of course other tribes, which we all have them in the report. All of them, yes. They experienced an increase in the number, in their numbers, yes.
So has this been corrected officially?
Yeah, definitely, this has been corrected officially, and the Census Commissioner made this correction yesterday. On Tuesday, he put it clearly and informed the country that really all tribes experienced increase in their population. We also had complaint of the religion. There was also a religious complaint that, we have reduced their numbers, which is also not true. The reduction will be seen in the age group of 25 to 35, the youth population, that most of them are maybe now running for the prosperity gospel, that they are joining some of the Pentecostal churches. But still, when you make that comparison to the total population, as we stand, that we have increased by over 11 million people, you realize that there is still increase. There's still increase, but that increase is at a slow pace. Still, the Catholic Church is leading in their numbers. We shall read it later to the public. And all other churches, the traditional churches, still their population is what? Increasing, but at a slow pace.
Now that this has happened, we just need to know what assurance is there to provide that the future data will be actually error-free. Can you assure the public out there that actually the report has no any other errors, and so will any other data that UBOS will be collecting in the future?
Well, I think the Bureau is one of the most professionally run institution. And it is professionally run in a sense that we handle a delicate product, because the planning of our country is based on the indicators, formulation of policies is based on the data, decision makings are based on data, and therefore it is our responsibility, duty that is given to us to ensure that we give the population correct data. And that's why even when we noted the mismatch or the exchange in figures for the 4 tribes, we have to come out and clarify. Because anomalies in data, they happen. But if they happen, what steps do you take to ensure that such is managed? And of course, even when we saw this, the Bureau instituted a team of professionals to undertake second data validation to ensure that there is no any error in the entire report. And of course, this is being done going forward, and also this will help us to avoid future recurrence of such kind of small mistakes. Because this is an exercise that we have given our all, with a lot of consultation from the members of from development partners, UNFPA, UNDP, universities, the academia, and so on. So all these were involved to really authenticate the quality of data, the quality of census results. Therefore, going forward, what we can tell the public is that that team has been instituted, and I know they are going to do a good job going forward and ensure that the results is clean, is of high quality, and is user-friendly. Right. Yes. So there is really no problem with the results as such. The only problem was on these 4 tribes, which of course we have since then rectified, and we have given our whole authority that the data can be used. Yes, can be used as we stand.
You talked about giving everything to the enumeration process, and no doubt UBOS was into it, and so did the general public get involved into the population census. Is there accountability for this erroneous data that happened? someone to account for what exactly happened?
Well, now you see, if you were to talk of accountability, now that's an internal matter.
Yes.
Yeah, and it will be handled administratively. Yeah, it will be handled internally, administratively. We shall have, of course, to dig into to know how did it happen, why did it happen. Those questions we shall ask, but we shall handle it. We shall handle it internally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's basically an internal matter that will be handled internally.
Yes.
And also for future references, so that it does not happen
Exactly.
again.
That's why I told you that the Bureau instituted a team to do quality assurance, to do secondary validation, and ensure that the report is clean. But also it will help us to avoid the recurrence in future. But what I want to tell the public is that this report also it had to undergo what we call external validation. We had experts who reviewed the various chapters. Because we had so many chapters. We had chapters on agriculture, we had chapters on population, we had chapters on ICT, we had chapters on fertility, unemployment. All these chapters, we had to get external experts in those fields to really go through the report, to validate it, ensure that the indicators are right, they are speaking to the occasion based on the findings from the field. Yes, so over and above, we are confident that this report is good enough.
Yes.
Is good enough.
Yes.
And can be used as a public document.
Yes.
Yes.
And in times like this, people are so into whatever is happening. And I'm just wondering how you are addressing issues of transparency, especially when it comes to the public.
By the way, the Bureau operates an open door policy. In fact, if anybody wants to come to the Bureau and see how this data was run, because we have the content, everything is on the server. For data security and confidentiality issues, we may not expose which household was this that had 2 children and so on, because of the confidentiality issues that as statistician we must protect our source of data. But if anybody wants to come and review how we validate or see how we validate, the machines are there and you can see it. But the other information that we cannot give you, the primary, the primary data, the data sources that we went to Nara's office and we established that she works for Uganda Catholic TV and so on. No, that one we don't give you. Well, that is supposed to be kept confidential.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the report was pulled down from the website.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take to be reinstated?
Definitely, the first purpose of pulling down the report from the website was to ensure that we correct these indicators, especially for the 4 tribes. But also, it has also given us an opportunity to review all the tables and ensure that everything is clean, and then at an appropriate time we shall be able to upload it.
Yes.
Yes.
You talked about reviewing of the tables. Let's just take a look at the religious dominations that you had earlier on talked about, and we talked about how there was a slight decline in the Catholic population. I think it's by 2%, and then there was also a slight decline in the population of the Anglican, and an increase. Where is the mismatch there?
There was no mismatch in the religious population.
There was no mismatch.
No.
Yes.
There is no mismatch. What we are telling the religious is that while their population is increasing, their numbers are increasing, it is increasing at a slow rate or a slow pace, simply because certain age group of the population in Uganda are now running to other churches, especially the Pentecostal churches. And this one, it may not just be on the scientific evidence, but you can see that you have, for example, when you go to the Fanero, the population of youth there's so many. If you go to Prophet Mbonyi, you will find that most of the population there are young people, age group 25, 35. There are so many. But of course, the older people, and maybe the children who are still under their parental control, they're still in their traditional churches. So the number has not reduced, but the growth in those numbers is slower. compared to previous times, previous years. Yes. So religious shouldn't be worried, but also they must just realign their gospel and ensure that they don't lose their Christians.
Okay, realigning the gospel.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yes. Now, Didacus, what do you have to say to critics that actually claim that this data was manipulated?
You see, it is good we live in a free society. And I think Uganda is one of those countries that has given freedom to anybody to say whatever they want to say.
Right.
And someone is sharing their opinion, it is okay. Sharing their opinion, it gives us an opportunity to hear what the public say. There is no way you can cook data worth 300 pages and give to the population. How are you going to do that? There is a system. In addition to that, this data was not only generated by the Bureau per se, it went through several hands, because the work started with what we call consultative engagements. We consulted people, we consulted the religious, we consulted other government ministries, departments and agencies, we consulted the civil society, the business community. We wanted to find out what kind of information is necessary for the country as we stand in the current situation and going forward, knowing that the census result is going to be used for the next 10 years. Therefore, you do not need to sit and say, I'm going to give the population this figure. No. Did you consult them? What is of interest? What is good? What can make better change, better economic transformation for the country? That's how we started. So after the consultation, we sat down and now started to generate what we call the questionnaires. These questionnaires were developed through consultative processes. And after that, we validated and we realized that yes, this is the standard for the questionnaire for the census. When that went through the approval process, we then say now we need to identify what we call the administrative units. Because remember, in the last 10 years, we have had other administrative units established. Sub-counties, parishes, town councils, districts. We now have cities. We have 10 cities in addition to Kampala. So all this we had to see to ensure that we know very well where they start and where they end. And that's the purpose of the census mapping I was talking about. We work together with the Ministry of Local Government to know that, the boundary of Kampala stops here, and for Okoth starts here, and it ends here, and for Mukono starts here and ends there. So that you can tell that the population of Mukono or Kampala is this, with their characteristics. So that was done, and we achieved it through the mapping exercise and household listing. And then after that, we have now to come into what we call recruitment. We recruited, first of all, or we identified, first of all, the supervisors for the census, those who will train people. We trained them. There's what we call the Tier 1 training. We trained the people at the Bureau. These people we trained at the Bureau came out to train. We had the people train it. We had to train people in Munyonyo. We had over 700 people trained. This included the district planners and the district IT officers. Why did we have the district IT officers? Because we were running a digital census, and therefore we expected knowledge on technology to be able to achieve that purpose. So we had from every district a district IT officer, a district planner, who is of course in charge of district statistics, and we undertook them through the questionnaire, through the technological approach, and each and everything. So we gave them the information. Then now we came into recruiting people, where we were recruiting the supervisors at the district level, at the parish level, at the sub-county level. And then we recruited the enumerators, those who would collect the data. All these people, we trained them on how to use the technology, the tablets, and how to input the answers from the respondents, and how to share this with their supervisors and so on and so forth, so that the data could reach the email server in record time to allow us to do the processing. So you can imagine all that process. For someone to wake up and say this data was cooked, you just know that that person is a saboteur. Is living in his own world, is not living in Uganda. Because this process has been made public. We have talked about them, not once, not twice, but in every stage of census, we had to ensure that we communicate what was happening. And we communicated.
Yes.
To the extent that even during the enumeration, you know, you had people saying that the tablets are inaccessible. You cannot log in. Do you know why the login challenges came? Because we had people who had been recruited from the back door. We had what we call the e-recruitment system, whereby a password was supposed to be your telephone number, which should be matching your name. Now, these people who were recruited locally did not understand that. So when they went through the training, now when they came to really work, they gave them tablets. They could not access the tablets because they had no password. Because the password were telephone contacts, most of the passwords. So that of course messed up the start of the enumeration, especially in the cities. But of course we rectified it within a day. And that's why going forward we had a smooth process of data collection. So over and above, I can tell you that there was a lot of process. It was not just going to the field and then announcing the results. No. There was a lot of process which was involved, right from planning to final execution to final dissemination of the results. So the narrative of the results were cooked. I think those are enemies, those are saboteurs, and they should stop that speculation. That thinking should stop. It is the wrong narrative. It is not the first time we must do the census. We have done it before. And I can assure you that this is actually the best census ever conducted in this country. The census results in this report is very, very good in the sense that it carries a lot of, first of all, the indicators are so many. That's why we had people complaining that the questions were so many, and it's because we had to respond to stakeholders' demand that we do not leave anybody behind. This census is for everyone. So we should use the report in a way that favors every sector because the indicators are there. If you're involved in the religious activities, the information is there. Culture, the information is there. Economy, the information is there. And all other sectors of the economy. The indicators, I think they are adequate and we can consume it. We can consume of it.
Surely.
Yeah.
It's very interesting how intense the process was, right from the go, the planning processes, the entire census until now. And it's very interesting because the integrity of the data really matters.
It does, yeah.
Right?
It does, yeah.
And I think you're going to continue protecting the integrity of the data for the next years to come to make sure that actually people believe in this data.
Exactly, definitely. It's not even just about just protecting the integrity of data, but it is just a must for us to ensure that there is independency in these TASCO products. We do not want any interference. It is good that the population gives us the opportunity to do what we know best.
Right.
We are the national statistics office in this country, and therefore whatever we produce is official. Yes.
You mentioned something about a review, and I'm just wondering, is there going to be another independent review of the census data or audit?
I don't want to say that there's going to be an independent review because we already had independent validators of this report. We had people from UNFPA, from academia, from UNDP, and so on and so forth. These were actually external reviewers, and they reviewed every chapter. But I told you that as an institution, coming or stemming from this four tribal issue, we had to get a team of quality assurance to further validate the findings and ensure that everything is in order. That's the step that the institution took when we realized that there was something wrong during the time of presentation. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Now you're the leader of Uganda Bureau of Statistics. It is not backing down for any reason whatsoever, and it's very interesting. You speaking for UBOS. Do you think that statement was warranted at this time?
I think the ED said that statement in good faith. Mm. You see, when people, and it is human. Yes. For me, it is human. When you put on a white shirt and it has a dot, or you drop soup during lunchtime on your shirt, the first thing the person or the public will see on you is the drop of soup on your shirt. Forgetting that the rest of the part of the shirt is what? It's clean. It's clean. It is like you're a spectator. You're watching a match. There are 22 players in the pitch, and here comes the striker. He shoots the ball, and he only misses to score by a narrow escape. Mm-hmm. So the ball just passes or hits the goalpost. Mm-hmm. You will actually say that this guy is not serious. Mm-hmm. Why did he score the ball? So you see, you can make those arguments when you're outside. Mm-hmm. But when you're inside there, and you're handling the real business, mm-hmm. it becomes a very difficult task. In fact, I expect the public to be appreciating us for producing these results in 4 months. Because it has been a tedious process, which is professionally driven, because we had to give, authentic output. Mm-hmm. So his statement on saying that he can't resign, I think he is right, because I think he has done his best, mm-hmm. and he's continuing to do his best as a head of a national statistics office. The people. That allegation of saying that man should step down because of the presentation that appeared with the wrong indicators for 4 tribes, I think that is really lack of appreciation from some of our friends in the public. Yes. Yes. In fact, I should ask them to retract that statement. the ED did his best to really spearhead this exercise. Right. Yeah.
Yes, there was a lot of work that went into...
again, I saw on Twitter someone saying that the ED said that he is the best statistician in the country. But you see, if you are the head of statistics, definitely you're the best statistician. Mm-hmm. He's the head of the institution, but also our human resource manual provides for his title as the chief statistician. Now, when he is the chief statistician, it means you're the best statistician. Because whatever is going to come out of that office must be approved by you. Even when external validators have given their opinion, you must approve of it. An external validator cannot release a report. The role of releasing a report of census, as provided in the Constitution, is supposed to be by the Census Commissioner or the Executive Director of the National Statistics Office. And that's what it is. So there is really nothing wrong. It is just because we live in a country whereby everyone is free to say whatever they want to say. Right. And therefore, that freedom of speech is guaranteed, and we cannot stop them from saying what they want to say. But we can only come out and explain, yes. and so that they can understand what it means by what we say. That is it, yes. Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying is that a lot of work has been put into the enumeration process and then the census report. And then we have like the majority of the report actually going on well. And then there's this mismatch just between the population in the tribes.
Correct, yeah.
That makes everyone, and then they have the whole time to debate about this tiny mistake.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you've come out to actually rectify this and assure Ugandans that the credibility and that the report is actually a very credible report. One thing I need to understand, lastly before we leave, is that what are some of the lessons? Because surely there has been lessons learned by you, boss, from this incident. And how will these lessons really influence your execution going forward?
Definitely, in every exercise you undertake, it becomes like your benchmark. Right. Now we have known that as first timers in using digital technology, we know the challenges we went through, and we also appreciate the good that came with it. For us, we have learned that the next time we are doing a digital census, everyone must be recruited electronically. We shall not allow those backdoor kind of recruitment. Secondly, it is also very important that, yes, we ensure that all our figures are correct and there is not any single misrepresentation like it happened for the 4 tribes. So these are key lessons that we keep learning, we keep picking. The old men say learning never stops, and indeed it does not. So we continue to pick the key lessons, we continue to listen to the public opinion and digest them for the betterment of future releases.
Your last remarks, finally.
Finally, I just want to thank our viewers and tell them that the report for 2024 census is of high quality, it is authentic, it is a public document, and we are free to make good use of it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for clarifying that, and thank you for making time, really. And it has been really nice having you as we discuss the most recent census report. It had a few discrepancies, but really everything has been rectified. And we've been listening to Didacus Okoth, the Senior Public Relations Officer. The Principal.
The title changed.
Thank you, Didacus. The Principal Public Relations Officer of Uganda Bureau of Statistics. Thank you so much for making the clarity and for making us reassure us that the census report has a lot of integrity and we trust in it. And everything that had been a little bit mismatched has been corrected. I am Nora Sunday. Until next time, I'll see you next Sunday. Do have a blessed Sunday and a lovely week ahead.